Welcome to Real Estate Investing Abundance, the show for busy, fulfilled professionals like you to learn how to develop financial independence built on solid passive real estate investments. Now, here is your host, Dr. Alan Lomax.
Hello, enlightened investors, and welcome back to Real Estate Investing Abundance. I'm so delighted that you have decided to join us once again today. And we have a very interesting topic today. We're going to talk about building our plan C, and C is for cash flow. And we also are going to look in why it is that we need multiple streams of income in 2024. With us today is Steve Nabity, and he helps others create passive income and save on taxes by investing in commercial real estate. He learned the unexpected by creating multiple eight-figure businesses from scratch when others told him it just simply won't work. Steve learned it's never too late to live the life you want. And he has taken all of his life lessons and experiences and has created a proven framework to help us deal with adversity and help us create passive income to live on our own terms. So, Steve, welcome to the show, and take us into the show and share a memorable experience that may have been key to helping who you are today.
Alan, hey, thank you so much for allowing me to be on your podcast. It's an honor, and it's a pleasure being here. So thank you very much. You know, you asked the question, was there a pivotal moment in my life that kind of set things in motion? And I think there are a couple ones, but one of the things, and I go back into high school, and it's so simple, but I had the opportunity. I met a friend of mine, and you think about it, that he had built some speakers, just loudspeakers. This is in high school. Mm-hmm. And he told me that you'd never be able to do it. You wouldn't. 1, 2, 3. Well, I can go back to that time when someone said you couldn't do something. And guess what? I learned how to do it. I learned how to build it. I researched it, et cetera. And I built loudspeakers. And through high school and college, I sold loudspeakers and systems and things like that. But the biggest thing that came from me, and I think the time of life, is that you never know what's going to happen on your journey. I call it God's journey. You never know what's going to happen. But one of the things, Alan, I always wanted to do was own my own business. I had loudspeaker businesses. I had my own painting business and hired my neighbors and stuff. But after college, after working, I finally had the opportunity to buy a business in Fremont, Nebraska. My family lived in Kansas City. I've been down there for 10 years, and I figured this is the time to do it. So I took my capital and I bought an electronic manufacturing business in Fremont, Nebraska. And before I'd moved the family up, I moved up and I bought the business and started working in it. And I moved up to Fremont, Nebraska, basically outside Omaha. Mm-hmm. And then after I bought it, 4 months later, moved my family up. We put everything we had in our money into the business. Everything we had, this was the dream. You know how, Alan, okay, this is it. This is the business. And so we put it into the business. And about a month later, I got a phone call from my general manager at 4 a.m. in the morning. And she said, Steve, the building's on fire. It's burning down. Our manufacturing plant got hit by lightning 6 months after I bought it. Burnt 80% of it to the ground. We had about 120,000 square feet. 80% of it burnt to the ground. And within 12 hours, the business that I had bought, that I put my life savings in, was gone, literally gone. And uh, from that time on, I told myself that I can't put all my eggs in one basket. I have to diversify. I've got to have that plan C, those other things in business, such that if we have a disaster or a catastrophe or you lose a customer, you still have other income streams. So after the fire, I employed about 50 employees at that time, Alan. And we came back, and within a week, we figured out what was the damage, what was happening, what's with our business. Well, we quickly figured out we were underinsured. And the other thing you do is that when you buy your first business, and this was back when I was a youngster, I had one major customer. So I was underinsured with one major customer. It's not a really good recipe
Yeah.
to go on. And I decided, all my advisors, the bank and everything else said, Steve, just close the business down and just do something different. Just
Mm.
chalk it up to experience. But I stayed up one night on the kitchen table and ran some numbers and figured out I could come back in business with 9 employees.
Mm.
So that's what I did. I came back in the business with 9 employees, with still one customer, got it up and going. And what I learned from that, and I think that was the most critical thing, is that you're in life, you're going to come across adversity, and how you respond to that. If you get knocked down, do you get up again? And when you think things are so insurmountable, you just need to take the next step. And what is God telling you? What do you think you should be doing? And that's what we did. We took the next step with 9 employees. And out of that, over in the journey, over the multiple years and how the business grew, and the multiple things we did, where we had the multiple plan C's, multiple companies, multiple things, it taught me that you need to have, and that's where real estate's so important, but you need to have other revenue streams that keep things going just in case something happens like that. But another thing, Alan, in this process, when we came back with 9 employees, we had to buy all new furniture, all because it was water damage, smoke damage. And we started going to auctions, furniture auctions. And you just kind of, the first time you go, you're trying to understand and learn, okay, how much is this? How much is that? And we'd go to the first auction, and then there was somebody there. The auction was selling a gorgeous, absolute gorgeous desk set. And it was auctioning off at $8,000, $9,000. And I can't remember if somebody bought it, but every week there was always an $8,000 and $9,000 desk set that was being auctioned off. And on the third auction, I went up to the auctioneer and I go, "Why are you auctioning off an $8,000 or $9,000 desk set?" Do you know what he told me?
I have
The,
no idea.
the company that had that $8,000 and $9,000 desk
Uh-huh.
went out of business.
Ah.
And that is a visual in my mind. When you think you're so important to have an $8,000 and $9,000 desk, you can lose it just like this.
Mhm.
And that has been a mantra and a guiding principle, is that you, in business and in life, you need to stay humble. You need to stay grounded. And when you think you've made it, that's when God can do other things that may not be good or from that standpoint. And that has been my mindset from going to today, is yet you've got to get up, and through our journeys, we will come across adversities, and you have to attack them and just take that next step from that side.
Well, fantastic lesson for all of us. Well, even though you got back upon your feet, there were a lot of painful things, but I expect one of the more painful things was letting 41 people go. That had to have been awfully painful for you as well, of course, for them as well.
It's with any organization, and this is even in any organization, business, you're only as good as your people.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody in our businesses are like family. And yes, letting those people go. But the neat thing from that, and they all understood, and everybody that we had to let go at that time said, let me know when you get back up and going. We want to come back. And that's, in fact, within a year, we had everybody back, and the
Wow.
business was
Wow.
growing and back in that mindset. But it is so crucial. People think running a business, it's all about money. It's all about the numbers. It's all about this and et cetera. You are affecting people's lives for the better or the worse, depending on how you run a business.
Absolutely.
And that's how we view our businesses, is that what we do, how we interact, who we hire, how we do things as a team can affect them, their children, their grandchildren, etc. And our philosophy is life is too short.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can be that positive influence on their family and they pass it down, then we consider that a win, an absolute win.
Enlightened investors, if you haven't done so already, be sure and click that like button and also click that share so others can take advantage of the content. And finally, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss a single one of our upcoming episodes. You just shared so many things, such a rich story, and so many things to learn from that. The example of the $8,000 desk set, all of that coming from a company who thought that they had it made. And yet, all of a sudden, they were up Schitt's Creek. And I don't know if you watched that show or not.
I do.
I watched a couple of episodes, but
Sure.
anyway, that can happen to any of us, and I have certainly been there. And I think it's probably much more prevalent than what a lot of people realize. People with W-2 jobs with big companies think that they're secure, and all of a sudden they have a pink slip in their mailboxes. It happens much more frequently. And most people are not prepared for that. They don't have a plan C. And so that's a lesson I think all of us need to hear and really, really take it really seriously. And the other thing you mentioned is humbleness. And we can all certainly become prideful. And as the old saying goes, pride goeth before the fall. And you're a wonderful example on being humble and also being grounded. Before we go any further in this, I'd like you to share another experience that you have had, and that is you are a marathon runner. In fact, one of the top 10 in the category of, what is it, I think 60 to 64 years old?
Yes, one of the in not a marathon, it's Ironman. Ironman racing.
Yes.
Yeah, and with an Ironman, you swim 2.4 miles, you then bike 112, and then you run a marathon, all in one day. And Ellen, where that started from, I was water skiing in Tennessee with some one of my form groups, and I ended up doing the splits and ripping all my tendons off my right
Wow.
leg on my
Wow.
hamstring. Long story short, got life flighted, never been life flighted before, ended up in the hospital, got misdiagnosed, put me on a plane back to Omaha, and I ended up having surgery the next day to reattach all the tendons from my hamstring to my, I'll use a technical term, butt bone.
Mm.
Um, and I was in a brace for 6 weeks. You could not bend because you didn't want to pull the tendons out. And at that time, a year before that, my son did an Ironman in Coeur d'Alene, and we went there and I watched it, and I've seen it on Wild World of Sports. And you look at those and you go, there's no way. Well, these guys are idiots. How can they do that?
Mhm.
And so after I healed up after 6 weeks, I went to the doctor and he said, Steve, you need to give up water skiing. It's snow skiing. And the only thing you should be doing is biking and swimming. And I immediately told the doctor, and he remembers this because it's been quoted in other discussions. And he said, I told him, I go, those are for wimps. I told the doctor swimming and biking are for wimps. And it was the worst thing I did. After that, I got the bug to start doing triathlons. I didn't know how to swim competitively, so I took swim lessons. I'd go to the community center, and between the kids and the senior adults, I couldn't even swim one length. And this was at 58. At 58, I had to learn how to swim. So on my journey, I had a goal, Alan, that I figured in by the time I was 80, I wanted to be at the World Championships of Ironman. And after I got up and going in a couple years, I made it to the World Championships and I raced in Kona in Hawaii in the 60 to 64 age group. And it was, I think, just the process of being and doing Ironman is a lesson for anybody in life. And I'll go through that. But to do an Ironman, to learn how to do that is not something that you say today that I'm going to race an Ironman in 30 days. It takes a year and plus. And some people think a year's a really long time, 2 years, 3 years, a really long time. But it's like life. People want to do new things. They want to take a new job. They want to get into real estate. They want to get into things. And there's a process. One of the things that you have to do in the process of Ironman is that you have to find a coach that is analogous to a business mentor in whatever you do in real estate, a mentor. Anything you do, you should find a mentor that has gone ahead of you and that you can learn from them. And what I did with Ironman Racing, I hired a coach, one of the better coaches out of Boulder, Colorado, and he told me, trust the process. Don't get too excited that you're not progressing. You're going to be going up and down. You'll get strides, you'll get gains, and then you'll fall back. Your body will respond, just like life. Just like driving and heading west in a car, you may get a flat tire. You got to fix it. And Ironman was a great lesson for me that solidified my beliefs and how life and business goes. So I followed the process. And one of the things, Alan, which was real interesting, I watched a lot of videos of the pros. When I learned how to do Ironman racing, I watched the experts. Just like in business, you want to read business books, Good to Great, Chase the Lion, you name it. There's a Maxwell, John, all these things on management, et cetera. You want to learn from these people. But one of the things that I watched a video, and this was another thing that really kind of stuck in my mind. I was watching a pro, and he was I can't remember what Ironman he was on, but he was biking, and he got a flat. Okay, they teach you to fix the flat fast, get back on the bike. Well, he got another flat, Instead of fixing the flat, do you know what he did? He picked up his bike, he threw it on the ground,
Mm.
he broke it, had a hissy fit, and just a temper tantrum. This is a pro.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's out of the race. Do you know if he would have just fixed the second flat and had his average bike race and ran his average marathon, he would have won the race.
Mm.
And my coach told me, and this is having a great mentor, the only thing you can really control is your attitude and your effort. In life, you can control your attitude and your effort. If you're Ironman racing, you get a flat tire, go into your training, fix the flat tire, get back on the bike and go
Mm.
and keep your attitude going. And that is how, with a good coach and mentor, can help somebody move faster, get to a direction you want to go from A to B, and trying to figure it out all in yourself. I could have done this all myself. I could have read books and what have you, but I wanted to learn from the expert in how to do this such that I can get to where I want to go. But it was a process, Alan. It's not overnight. And the other thing, like anything else in life, is it was a big mental game. And when your body says you can't do something, it's overcoming that. And one of the things that I really study a lot and I love is the mindset of a Navy SEAL. Navy SEALs say that when they think, and they've studied this, that when your body says no, you're done, you still have 40% left in you. 40% of your ability and of your strength is left in your body when your mind says no. So that tells you that God has created this body and created you for a lot more than what you think you can do. And it's all a mindset. It's a mindset game. So you control your attitude and your effort.
Well, excellent lessons. And I like the trust the process, that there's always going to be ups and downs. But if you stick with the process and trust that process, then ultimately you're going to find success. And life is all about attitude and effort, and those are essentially all that we can control. Circumstances are not anything we can control. The only thing we can control is what's within us, and that's our attitude and the effort. Great lessons. Steve, you say that, and you really provided the example here, particularly with the marathon, I mean, with the Ironman, but you say it is never too late to attain the life that we desire. You've certainly given us some examples as to how that has worked in your life, but talk to us a little bit more about that concept.
And Alan, that's one of the things that I've learned over the years in the business world, that everything is never, never too late. And when we talk about a mentor, when I was running my business, my side hustle was doing real estate. I owned retail centers, multifamily apartment buildings, and et cetera. And I did that on my own with a couple other guys, but it was more of a my core job was running a business, but I had real estate on the side. I sold my businesses in December 21. It was a portfolio of 5 companies, private equity. But one of the things that I wanted to do is I loved real estate. I loved what it can do and how you can help people do the plan C. And what I found after that, when I was starting to buy bigger buildings, and I found out that I needed help. But when I was out talking to friends and families, and they were talking to people, that they wanted to get into real estate, but they didn't know how. And it was analogous to me, Alan, when I was doing triathlons, Ironman. I wanted to do it, but I didn't know how. And I had to find a coach to do that and bring me along. And that's what we found in real estate with Skyline Point Capital, is that we put that together to help people develop that plan C. They may have their W-2 job. They may have another business, but they have capital and they want a little diversity and to minimize the risk if something happened. As you know, many people, their income is based on the number of hours they put in. And what we were doing at Skyline Point Capital is help them chart a path, and we will help them do that to create that passive income using real estate. It could be multifamily, it could be retail. We look at industrial too. But what the fun of this is that you find people that they, this is the thing I wish I would have done. And I wish I would have done real estate a lot sooner. And it's never, ever too late to build that plan C. And so that's what we do right now today with Skyline Point Capital is be that plan C for people to help them get in. And we would love them to get into the real estate and then start doing their own thing. I just give them the motivation and the confidence that they can do it when they think they can't by just taking that first step.
And that first step is always the biggest step. That is so true. A lot of people want to get into real estate, but they think it's just insurmountable, and it just really isn't. So tell us how it is that we can get in touch with you, and what is it that you offer to help people take that first step?
What we do is at Skyline Point Capital, we have a process that people can reach out to us at steve.nabity at skylinepointcapital.com or go to our website, skylinepointcapital.com. And we have the 5 steps you can download for free that talks about how to get into real estate, how to take that first step. And we are available as a resource to help them do that. We will work with them, guide them. And if it's for them, great. We have processes and properties that they can get started at a smaller scale just to get their feet wet. Like when I had to learn how to swim, first thing I had to do was jump in the pool. And thinking with real estate, the first thing you'd have to do is make that phone call to us. And then we can walk you through what that looks like and give you the vision, what you can expect in investing in multifamily or retail or industrial. We can give you that vision and be that mentor and guide for you to do that.
Well, that is wonderful. So, what is it that you don't like about multifamily?
Well, in today's environment today, with the interest rates so high, that there is not a lot of deal flow. But Alan, let me tell you how I look at this in the sense we're a little different. A lot of people in the multifamily syndication marketplace and businesses, they're trying to do all these deals. They're trying to, I'm going to grow here. I'm going to grow there. I'm going to do this. And I'm wonderful and I'm great. I'm a little different. We created with our companies and we were blessed that with the sale of the company, we were very blessed in what we did. And what we're doing with our capital, we're buying properties we want to own personally. We want to own personally. Our job with our portfolio and with our family office is to preserve wealth and grow it. Preserve wealth and grow it. So what in our case is we don't want to take a lot of risk. We're not at the end of the diving board. We want to make sure the deal is really good for us, our family, and our investors, and not take a lot of risk. What that means is that we pass on a lot more than a lot of other people from that side of it. And we're okay with that. We are absolutely okay. The second thing that we love about multifamily, and when you're in the real estate and you're owning real estate and you're a syndicator, you are running a business. I ran businesses for 35 years, multiple businesses, and sold them successfully to a private equity firm. It's not most, and I can't say most, but there is a big wave of people out there. I'm gonna be a syndicator. I'm gonna buy apartments. I'm gonna get investors, and the draw is buying them. Well, that's not where you can make or lose your money. It's operating them. And you're seeing that right now in today's, the last
Yes.
2 years, people
Mhm.
are having a really, really tough time operating.
Mhm.
I love operations. And what we do, we view this as running a business. This is a business. It's an investment, but you're running a business. That means you got to hire and you got to have A players that know what they're doing. And it's not just about acquiring the property. You have to operate it to increase value, hire the right property managers. And I see in this industry that you ask, like, what I don't like about it is that there are situations, syndicators, and et cetera, that are more interested in buying than actually operating. It kind of gives the investment arena maybe a bad name, or kind of taints it when it really didn't need to be. You're running a business, and that's how we view it at Skyline Point Capital.
Well, Steve, it's been a delightful conversation and an enlightening conversation. Definitely been a pleasure having you, and an honor to have someone of your caliber with us today. So thank you so much for being with us. And enlightened investors, it's a delight having you with us as well. Without you, we just wouldn't have a show. So thank you so much for being with us. Please take a moment to like, share, and subscribe, and go to your favorite podcast app and leave us a rating and a review. Until next time, live abundantly, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Thank you, Alan. It's been a pleasure.
Enlightened investors, wait, don't go just yet. I just want to remind you about our recently launched webinar that you will not want to miss. If you're at all curious and would like to learn more about how real estate investing can diversify your investment portfolio, alleviate the anxiety associated with Wall Street swings, leverage your 401ks and IRAs to substantially increase the return on your investment, and do all of this with turnkey, hands-off, passive real estate investments, then you'll want to immediately go to stevetalker.com/webinar. In the webinar, we'll also address the common dubious investment schemes that you want to avoid. To access the webinar, go to stevetalker.com/webinar. I look forward to seeing you in the webinar.
Thank you for tuning in to Real Estate Investing Abundance, brought to you by Steve Talker Capital, a company working for passionate professionals like you to develop financial independence built on solid, passive real estate investments. As part of our efforts to make the world a better place, Steve Talker Capital contributes to activities and organizations committed to better understand the equine. These endeavors attempt to enhance the human treatment of horses worldwide. Steve Talker Capital, working for a world where all creatures, great and small, flourish abundantly. For resources to develop your financial independence, connect with us at stevetalker.com.